60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
He is the water that flows for the people of Amuzu in Abia State, the Enyinnaya Harcourt Abaribe. And he says, come March 11th, 2023, he wants to flow for the people of Abia State. My guest today has been a former deputy governor of his state, Abia State, that's from 1999 to 2003, and a senator representing Abia South Senatorial District since June 2007. Today, the Senate Minority Leader, Chairman of the Southeast Caucus, and an author. Senator Enyinnaya Harcourt joins me on 60 Minutes today. We're recording this interview just off the back of protests by women groups at the gates of the National Assembly. I want to put you on the spot. How did you vote in the matter of gender bills to curb discrimination against women?
I voted positively for the gender bills. I was also at the gate with the women. I went to show solidarity with them. And I told them also that there's a way that they could also do pressure on the National Assembly. The votes are recorded. Each person and how you vote is also recorded. And all they have to do is to apply.
Is it available to the public?
It is a public document because the record of our voting is also part of the Hansard of the House. And so they can apply for it and it will be released to them and then you can know how each member voted. Then they can now target those people and then the community can ask you, why did you vote this way?
Yes.
When we sent you to the National Assembly to protect our rights.
Why do you think that bill failed?
I think it's a combination of our traditional mores where in certain parts of this country women are not given appropriate I would say appropriate consideration. Also, it also has to do with the misinterpretation of religion. There is the widespread notion that if you belong to a particular religion, then you don't have any such right. You're supposed to be, stay behind. But then, women constitute slightly above half of this country. They also constitute the bulk of voters. They also are the nurturers of our civilization and the people that actually make things happen. And there's this statistic that shows that those countries that the women are their prime ministers and their presidents did much better during the pandemic time than all the other countries. In other words, we cannot just push away half of this country and say they do not matter in leadership.
Were you surprised that both houses voted against the bill?
No, I wasn't, because as we were talking to our colleagues from the feelers that I got, I was not surprised that we were going to.
What kind of feelers? What were they telling you? You know, did you want to give these women rights? They will now be over Sabi or...
The Constitution says you shouldn't discriminate against anybody.
Yes.
And then you want us to discriminate against the men. Because if you say, you set out a certain percentage, and we told them that there is something called affirmative action. And affirmative action was used to try to cure those type of things. And so it is not discrimination in that sense.
So do you support the idea of conceding the presidency to the Southeast, the region you come from?
Of course. We felt
Yes.
that in politics, you need to expand your horizon, you need to talk to everybody, you need to be able to get people to buy into your line of thinking.
Yes.
And it is that we have been trying to do. Besides, I also think that the way the country is today, it needs thinking outside the box. It needs some radical thing to be done, and that the old traditional ways of doing things are actually failing.
Yes.
And maybe this might be the right time to get somebody from try something else.
One of the problems that political watchers say arising from the question of a presidency of Southeast extraction is the fact that perhaps the 5 states that make up the geopolitical zone cannot seem to unite behind one man from one state of the 5. For instance, you know, if you ask an Anambra man if the Ebonyi man would make a good president, he would never admit or never agree to that. There's so much rivalry between the 5 states. Do you agree with that assertion?
No, I don't agree. At any time that anybody has been president of this country, we have never had where in a particular area all the people sat down and say, oh, we're going to get only one person. That has never happened. And so when this question comes up, those of us from the Southeast now want to question and say, why are you putting a different criteria to us? I mean, at the time that it was Obasanjo, there was Obasanjo there was Bola Ige, there was Olufalaye, there was so many other times. At the time that it was Yaradua, there were so many other people too who also came out, also from the same north, who tried to also be president. Yes. And so at the time that even this Buhari ran in APC, there was also Atiku, Kwankwaso, the rest of them also ran. Yes. And so nobody queued up and said, okay, bring one person from this area. So we think that it's a criteria that nobody should even mention to anybody in the Southeast.
But the Southeast has never willingly voted for anyone of Southeast extraction. Kingsley Moghalu was from the Southeast. He didn't garner much votes from the Southeast region.
So, I don't know the quantum of votes that Moghalu got and the distribution and spread. You know, we don't have that idea. The Southeast, they always want to go with the preponderance of opinion for that person that we give them a level playing ground, that we see them as equal partners in what, and will overwhelmingly do so. Yes.
But you proudly displayed your PDP flag today. Why isn't the party conceding the presidential ticket to the Southeast? Rather, they've decided to leave it open to all zones. And the Southeast has been faithfully, loyally sticking with the PDP all these years.
there are ongoing consultations within the party, but I doubt whether a party will take such a decision. Usually, what you do within a party is that you consult, and there's a preponderance that shifts to one side. We will now galvanize everybody if everybody is towing that line. And I think that we are having those kind of conversations. Yes, we are having the conversation.
Do you have anyone from the Southeast that you would not mind to see as president? And I'm asking that because even you've been, very active. You're a leader from the Southeast. You have a prominent position in the Senate. Why have you decided to go for the governorship of Abia State rather than throw your hat in the ring for the presidential seat?
Well, I think that everybody has where he thinks that he will do much better. In terms of, do I have anybody in mind for the president? Of course, there are many. And all of them are eminently qualified.
Including yourself?
No. Count me out of the presidency. That I have said, let me leave that for now. What we intend to do is that the Southeast needs to have a new ethos, a new direction. Let us turn the Southeast into that El Dorado that we want. And Nigeria will now be begging the Southeast to come and...
When we see what you've done in your region.
When we see what you have done in our area. Yes. So we think that simply mouthing it without concrete action will not show what we can do. We intend that we recreate the Southeast into a Bavaria of Nigeria, Barcelona of Nigeria, that all those areas in the world where even as their areas were being suppressed, burst out in economic management that you just could not ignore.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back, Senator Abaribe. Do you believe in Nigeria? One Nigeria?
I believe in Nigeria, a Nigeria that gives equal opportunities to everyone. A Nigeria that sees every citizen of Nigeria as having the same rights like everybody. I believe in a Nigeria that gives a level playing ground to all. I believe in a Nigeria that you can live anywhere in Nigeria and feel safe. I believe in that Nigeria. What has happened over the years is that the concept of Nigeria has been twisted to have some people as first class and some other people as second class citizens. And it is these inequalities and the treatment of people that has made some people decide that they don't want to be part of Nigeria again. And we're telling them, no, these things can be resolved. And that one man's proclivities or idiosyncrasies should not be what we use to judge everybody. This is in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria.
Your education was in Nigeria?
My education was in Nigeria. I was actually educated through Nigerian scholarship and bursary. I have worked in Nigeria. I'm a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So when the question now comes, do you believe in Nigeria? It now seems to me like what you're trying to elicit is something else. It's no longer what I'm in Nigeria.
No, I'm asking that because, your critics, they say you are not a bridge builder. They call you an IPOB man. You say, and I'm quoting you now, I am a supporter of the cries of our people against injustice. I stand with my people. So that's why I'm asking straight up.
Yeah,
Do you support IPOB? Do you support their violent, hateful rhetoric?
No, I didn't support violence in any way, and I have always said that you cannot treat people in different ways and expect that they will keep quiet. They will naturally react. And it's so clear that we don't need to debate it. But to go beyond that, to say because I stand with my people saying we're not being treated well, we need to get a different shake from this. And then you turn around and now say, because he's saying that he shouldn't treat us well, therefore he is an IPOB member. I am not a member of a terrorist, in quote.
Yes.
Now, just look at this. I stood on the floor
Yes.
in 2017 at the point at which there was so much carnage going on in the plateau, in Benue, in southern Kaduna, and so forth, by people that were clearly identified as non-Nigerians who were. And when I stood up, I said, this government of APC ought to let us know why they are saying that, oh, it is a quarrel between brothers, it's a quarrel between herdsmen and farmers, and trying to play down on these people. And this continued. And when the matter of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB came out, it took the federal government just a day to go to court and get a court order saying that this is a terrorist organization. And we now ask the question, several years have passed, you're finding it so difficult to designate those who are carrying AK-47, rocket-propelled grenades and all that, and massacring people and wiping out villages and all that. And you just don't want to designate them as terrorists. But for these ones who are flag-waving and running around and saying they want to recreate Biafra, you're very, very quick to designate them as a terrorist organization. So it is this uneven treatment that is leading these young people to think that they don't have a stake in this country. That is what, I mean, we started this in I think it was 2016 when that whole thing, until recently. And I said, okay, we're going to designate them as terrorists. But you could see my colleagues the other day were saying, even these people designated as terrorists, what has happened? Why is it that the carnage continues?
Yes.
Why is it that these killings continue unabated?
And that's why you probably said government may crush agitation, but they won't be able to crush ideology. And you spoke of Biafra of the mind and Biafra of the land.
Yeah, there are two different things.
Yes.
A Biafra of the mind is what the late Ojukwu also espoused at the end of the Civil War when he came out and came back to Nigeria. In other words, turn our own place into a place that will be, it will take care of all of us, it will take care of it will take care of all the unemployment, it will take care of physical development, it will take care of our infrastructure, take care of our education, and of course, help to move us into the new age of Information Technology. And we said that it is the education that you give to your people that will get them to compete in the 21st century. That is what I meant. That I think that going back to say, let us find an enclave of our own and all that, may not be helpful to us in any way. And that's how I now encapsulated that.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that our people would continue to do things that are inimical to their own welfare and well-being. And we've been having this discussion everywhere and all over the place.
Yes.
We actually, at this time, even with Nigeria,
Yes.
also having a difficulty of deciding how to treat this matter. And like Pius Anyim has said, it is not an Igbo Southeast problem. It is a Nigerian problem because in the Southwest you have people who are also agitating. In the South-South, or due to also the oil devastation, you also have people who are agitating. In the Southeast, you have those who are doing it. If you go up north, you also see people who are doing it in the Benue Plateau, Southern Kaduna, even going towards the Kanuri areas in Borno, because part of it was also the way they were treated. If you go towards Zamfara and all that, you see that the clash is between the Fulani and the Hausas around there. So it's a problem that encompasses almost all the country, which means that when you become a leader in Nigeria, you should be a leader that will take all this into consideration and bring out measures that will resolve most of the issues.
Yes.
What we find is that rather than thinking through measures that will resolve this issue,
Yes.
The result has always been to kill, maim, destroy, jail, do all that. And that assumption is, I would say, it's not so correct, because an assumption that force will restrain or remove such agitations, all that it can do is to drive it underground, which is what it has done now. And the unfortunate part of it, or the fallout that we have now, is that in the Southeast, for example, all criminals, all cultists, all other people who are not agreeing to societal mores have all now called themselves
Metamorphosed into a
yeah,
BIAFRA
they now
activist.
call themselves IPOB. So somebody has a problem, somebody it's an armed robber, somebody is a kidnapper, a cultist, whatever. So he goes and does all those deplorable things, and then he turns around and says, oh, I'm doing it because I'm IPOB. It's not true. It's because, most of the analysis that ought to be done is not being properly done. And the authorities are very quick to have a blanket solution. And that blanket solution, oh, they are all IPOB, and therefore we attack and kill them. There's a lack of intelligence, because in resolving an issue, solving a crime, you need to go to the crime and find out who is doing what, how are they doing it. These people are communicating with people.
Yes, but
there must be people, usually,
Yes.
not to cut you short, what intelligence agencies do is even to embed people with them. So
within the community, yes.
Precisely. So you get to know, and so
don't you think there's a reluctance on the part of perhaps government, if we want to use that word, to delve into these issues you raise, because people feel that there was a reluctance on the part of the elite, the political class in the Southeast, to outrightly condemn IPOB for fear of recrimination or reprisal attacks on themselves?
I think that is wrong to make such an assertion. People in the Southeast also came out and decried the violence that was going on. I was part of a meeting that was called by the governors, by the traditional rulers, by all of us. And we met in Enugu and we condemned in its entirety and said, even if you're going to do an agitation, it cannot be by shedding blood, it cannot be by attacking police stations and all that. It cannot be by, putting a sense of fear in everybody.
Yes.
And so, it's not that we haven't done so. It has been done. But, the point is that bad news sells, good news does not sell. So when we come out and we say no to this, it will not be reported.
It won't get as much publicity.
It won't get much publicity. For example, I was in Enugu in inauguration of the Chamber of Commerce. And because they're Chamber of Commerce, they are the business people. They are the people who actually can bring, and they decried the problem of the sit at home
on Monday
and all those things. And I told them that the IPOB people have come out to say, we are not doing any more sit at home. The dramatist personnel himself, Nnamdi Kanu, when we met him in the DSS detention, I went with Senator Kweremadu, Bishop Ona, Bishop Onuoha, and Ambassador Okoye Muche, representing Ohanese, and he told us that he says, no, we cannot do this sit at home anymore, and all that.
So why is it still being observed?
Now the question is, after the same people have denounced it and every other person, some people still envelope the whole place in fear, because what they do is simple. They are criminals. So they run out on a Monday morning and they will catch somebody going about his business and try to molest or if it's a keke driver, they will burn his keke down and then they will run away, just to maintain the myth that somebody has said, And so people not having a sense of having collective security around them now just saying until we are sure of what
before we'll come out. If you were called upon again today to be a surety for Nnamdi Kanu, would you respond positively?
Yes, because I've answered this question before, and I said I have no problem being a surety for him. He's a Nigerian citizen who also has his rights, and that at the point at which I was surety was the point at which the judge made it a mandatory provision of his bail. And if such a mandatory provision comes again, I will gladly step up, because what we want is to see how we can de-escalate these problems, is to see how we can revive the Southeast. On the heels of COVID, on the heels of low economic activities all over the world, on the heels of even problems, infrastructure and all that, adding that to the myriad of problems, just continue to impoverish our people.
Yes.
And we have told our people, you can sit at home. The man in Abuja is not bothered. The man in Lagos is not bothered. All that now happens is that people are going to gradually move their businesses away from the southeast, and the southeast continues to get poorer. So it's a decision that all of us have to make to say, no more. Let us see whether we can make life easier for our people.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back. Now, Senator, many Abians, I read on social media, saying that this current governor, Okezie Ikpeazu, is the worst governor in Nigeria. The state is the worst governed state in Nigeria. And you, in declaring your ambition on the 26th of December 2021, said that you were coming to rescue Abia State. The use of the word rescue suggests that even you think things are so bad, you need to step in. You said it's either we go forward or we continue in darkness.
We were discussing that in the context of Nigeria. I had said in that the Nigerian situation was encapsulated by a German writer who wrote a book on Nigeria. The title of the book about Nigeria is This Present Darkness. So I used it as a metaphor to say to my people that PDP will rescue Nigeria out of what this author said, this present darkness. And that it's only PDP that can do it because we have been able to do it before. Yeah, at the time PDP came in 1999, it was at the wake of the diminishing oil revenue, the Abiola riots, and all the people running away from Lagos to all their different states and all that. There was palpable tension everywhere, and that PDP was able to bring everybody together.
Yes.
And the election of Obasanjo, you could see what happened. President Obasanjo, despite being a president of PDP, his first cabinet was a government of national unity. He brought a chairman of AMPP, he brought Bola Ige, another from AD. He brought all shades of opinion. And that first cabinet seemed and helped to calm everyone down. That what really happened was that when the Buhari government came in 2015, that they used exclusion as a government policy. And now we're decimating everybody. And people who ought to even grow within their ranks were all removed. And only people from a certain part of the country. And I questioned it at that time. I now said, you cannot have all our security paraphernalia in the hands of only people that are Muslim and from the north. And this does not breed or engender the unity that we want. And in that context, I said, PDP needs to take over, or this darkness will consume all of us. In making my declaration formally, when I met with the party. What I said is purely very simple. I said that, and I was using their building, that the last time I was in their building, there was no POP. There was no tiles. It was a terrazzoed floor and then a regular ceiling. That what we intend to do is that the building is there. The PDP government has always been there. But that we're going to improve and upgrade on what we have in Abia State. So now that you can now have your POP, you have your tiles on the floor and all that. So that's the exact word I used. Yes. Upgrade. Yes. So.
All right. So let's do a bit of history here. In 1999 to 2007, the governor of Abia State was from Abia North.
Yeah.
2007 to 2015, it was Abia Central.
Yeah.
2015 to 2023, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu now is Abia South.
Yeah.
Now, except you want to cause chaos, you are also from Abia South.
Yeah.
And your party, the PDP, already has a zoning arrangement enshrined. You call it the Abia Charter of Equity.
Yeah.
Add to that the fact that you and this incumbent governor are both from Abia South.
Yeah.
In fact, the same local government area, Obingwa. You know, so why are you throwing your hat in the ring rather than letting the seat rotate back
that is
to the north?
Okay, so I will deal with that. That document that is called the Abia Charter of Equity.
Yes.
At the point at which that document was done, there was no Abia. There were only 2 senatorial zones. And what that meant was that you can't also continue with something that described a geographical area that was entirely different from what we have today. 2, if you look at it by happenstance, and I mean the word happenstance, people have continued to come from different senatorial zones. It never stopped people from any other senatorial zone from running against whoever came from that zone. That's what I mean happenstance. At even a particular point, this particular incumbent lost his seat through the court and also regained it through the court. And those he had lost those elections to, those court judgments to, were not from the same senatorial zone. So of course, when people want to make an argument, they will make an argument that will suit them. For me, the matter is fairly simple. If it is in terms of unity, we have all had a chance at governorship.
Right.
And so, when you have all had a chance, why would you want to continue with what has not, because you criticize the first person, you criticize the second person, and then you still want to continue in that same thing. So I said to them, listen, I'm coming to be the unifier. I'm coming to be the person that will bring all strands and all peoples of Abia together. And that also, by, I would say, happenstance, I happen to be one of those that have the critical ingredient that you need in governance.
Which is the 3 C's?
I have integrity. I don't say what I don't do. I do not play with words. I don't let people deceive people so that I can step up and sit in an office. And I've been known for that. 2, I have credibility. I can work with everybody within, and they know that my word is my bond. In fact, Ohaneze had to designate me to interface with all the agitation groups and all that.
You said there are over 30 alone.
Yes,
in the
I could bring
Southeast.
them together, and we sat and we reached certain agreements. So, and that was why during the time that there was the elections in Anambra,
Yes.
and the people were scared, and they said, "Oh, I went to Anambra, I campaigned, and I told them openly, I said, nobody's going to stop you from voting. Don't worry about it, because we have reached out to all these people, and they gave us their word."
Yes.
And that was why the elections happened peacefully. And so, when you put all this together, you will know that Fabia, I will be an asset and not. I think that what really is going on is that our people say that when you look for where to, let me put it,
Yes.
when you're looking for where to rest your elbow, you put it on your knee. So when people are looking for an argument to say Abaribe shouldn't be governor, say, oh, okay, let us now rest it on
the south.
An equity movement that cannot be justified today.
Yes.
We need to move beyond where we are today. And I can tell you authoritatively that the two main protagonists who ran against the incumbent, one Uchoga, who's minister now,
Yes.
and the other Alex Oti, both also came from North and Central, and have never agreed at any point,
Yes.
if you confront them, on this question and notion of where you come from. They have also said they want the best for Abia State. And so, if you want the best, you don't need to go far to look for the best. The best is sitting right in front of you. And the party also accepts that. The party knows that we have what it takes. And the party knows that winning the election is more important. Because you could say all the things, you could do all the things, you could want to do this, but you need to win.
Yes.
If you don't win, all your programs, all whatever you have, all the other things that you claim you can do, you will not be able to deliver on them.
How did the governor react to your ambush? I use the word ambush because you didn't give a hint on why you wanted to see him. Everyone thought you were going for Christmas felicitations. How did he react? Didn't he have anyone that he was grooming to succeed him?
Well, I think that is a question that only him can answer, whether he has somebody that is going. But this is democracy, and we're going to do everything by letting the people show through their votes what their preference would be. On the contrary, the governor was very warm. He received us very well, and said one significant thing, that power comes from God, and that he knows that at the appropriate time, God will also bring out somebody for Abia State. So I was particularly happy with that response, because I also feel that part of the problems that we have had in Nigeria has also been the fact that those who are not, who have not trained for leadership, those who have not had any stint, are simply imposed on the people. And when that happens, the person starts to learn on the job. And that brings a lot of, discordance in governance and a lot of difficulties for those who expect very rapid improvements in their lot. And so I don't think that we'll have a problem on that score. It's a democracy. We would have to make our choices, and the choices that we have to make in Abia, I believe, are very, very, I would say, very clear. It's either you want to, go towards the way of upgrading everything that we are doing now and getting them much better than they are today, or you fall back on your primordial sentiments and then everybody loses.
Do you have any idea who the other aspirants are?
No. It's all speculation, but I know that only one person has come to the party to say, I will run. Some people have stayed in their houses and called a few people together and said they are running. But if you don't go out and meet all the different groups in the society, I've met with the party. Of course, I started from my ward because it's a party business. And then I met with my local government. I've met with the party in the state. I've met with the PDP caucus in the House of Assembly. And I've met with all the other key stakeholders. They've been very enthusiastic. On the contrary, even far more popular outside my senatorial zone than within my senatorial zone.
You've been citing projects in the 3 senatorial districts ever since your time in the Senate. So would I be right in saying that spreading of projects all over Abia State, as a humble senator at that time, you were just, laying a foundation for this ambition?
Let me help you here.
Yes.
I wasn't laying any foundation for this ambition. In 2015, I wanted to run, but the president at that time, President Jonathan, met with the governors of PDP governors in 2015 and all that, and so many things happened, and we were more or less told not to rock the boat.
Yes.
And we felt that what was more important was for PDP to win. But PDP didn't win. Why did PDP not win? Because well-intentioned things will always can be subverted if you don't give the people the chance to make their choices. And so in so many parts of Nigeria, people reacted to the decisions that were taken at that time, and we ended up not being able to, yes. And that would mean, of course, that we cannot be making the same decisions and expecting different outcome. So I have always told our people, and I've told the PDP as a party, we're bringing the party back to the people. Let the people make that choice. Let no party mandarin claim that, oh, he's better than this, because the signing of the Electoral Bill by President Buhari, which legitimizes now the electronic transmission of results and the use of electronic machines in verification of votes and all that, makes it mandatory to parties now that only a popular person can win elections. And so if we go by the same old thing of saying, okay, I like this man, let him come and run, people will reject it at the polls. And so it's a game changer for everybody, including the PDP. And I'm pretty certain that part of the problems we're seeing in APC now is also related to this.
The signing of the Electoral Act.
Yeah. Because the idea has always been that there are some people behind the scene who are going to say, here we go, B will not go, C will go. And people are reacting to such things. And so I'm usually not known to commend President Buhari, except in a few instances. And this is one of those instances in which I commend President Buhari for signing the bill. Because that, like I said, is a game changer. It will improve our elections in ways that we will not understand. Because if it says that, and it's in the law, accreditation is what we will use to know whether there's overvoting or not, unlike in the previous bill or act, the previous act. What it means today is that when you use the machine and accredit in a particular place, once it's done, that ends the matter. You can no longer, no matter what you do, because everything that is being done is transmitted automatically to a particular server somewhere. And so all that you need to do is apply to INEC to give you and even for those who may have been compromised in some way, they will also be well aware that, okay, accreditation was just 20, 30 people here today. And for them to now, in writing, adding up and say, oh, it's 300, not 30, it will be discredited from somewhere else. And we have put penalties now in the act for INEC officials who deliberately, distort results. So everybody will be very, very careful. At first, those who worked for INEC as ad hoc workers and all that used to think that they were immune until the professor in Cross River, no, not in Cross River, in Akwa Ibom, who manipulated results, was jailed. It was at that point that it now dawned on everybody that this is not child's play. This is not something that you just do and you don't care. You compromise yourself for whatever pittance you get, because the prospect of going to jail means that for the rest of your life, you're also going to lose your job as a professor in the university and all that. And I don't think that any one of them would like to lose their sinecure because of whatever happens on a particular day. So that means that the sanctity of elections will now be respected.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Abaribe, for having me in your office today. It's been an enlightening conversation.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetunmobi.